I feel like tours are more fun because they're just your fans, right? I find festivals scarier because I feel like with festivals...
You have a wide range of audience.
Yeah, and you're almost trying to convert people that have maybe, like, they've been out the night before and they're like, all right, let's see what Jade's set to say, and then they turn up with their bottle, and then afterwards I want them to be like, oh, that was pretty good.
What's up, friends? It's your girl, Emily Curl, back here at our iHeartRadio studio, and today we have Jade in the building. Can we show some love for Jade back here at iHeartRadio?
Thank you.
Hi, Jade. We're so happy to have you back.
Oh, it's lovely to be back.
It's crazy. I told you right before the cameras were rolling, the last time you were here was almost exactly 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And I think it actually was like a day or two before Angel in My Dreams had just dropped.
Wow.
Your first solo release ever.
And now look.
Now look. You drop Angel in My Dreams, you give us everything and more. I feel like this year has just been your year of artistry, of coming into your own, releasing this music. I mean, what has it been like for you?
I just feel relieved, to be honest. No, it's been such an amazing year. Obviously, I have a lot of faith in myself and belief in my music, but I think even I was surprised at the response with Angel, and then with the rest of the music to follow, and everything that's happened within a year is just like, can't believe it.
I feel like you've built your own like special universe, which is like a rare thing to do, especially your first year of making solo music. This year, what has been the most, the best part of making music as a solo artist, and the most challenging part?
I think the best part has been knowing that people get it, or like just understand who I am or who I want to be. That feels lovely to like put yourself out there artistically and people be like, yeah, I understand that, I'm into it. That's amazing. And then I think the most challenging part, I think, has been just sort of navigating being a pop girly and like the trials and tribulations that come with that, which I have always experienced, but I think on your own it's definitely different. Obviously the spotlight's just on me now, so it's a different kind of magnifying glass. It's a bit more intense with like the social media and stuff like that. So
interesting.
I feel like that's probably been the most challenging part is understanding that like everyone gets to say something about what you're doing.
Oh, and you felt like it's even different from when you were in the group versus now? Like it's just a different layer?
Yeah, I don't know if it's different or if it's just because it's just me now that I'm like seeing it more. But, ironically, that is, what the album and a lot of my music is about. So that's Showbiz, baby.
Yeah, that's Showbiz, baby. Let's talk about the new album. So excited. Already the singles that you've released. I feel like I have an idea of what the full picture is going to look like, but walk me through this world.
I think that Showbiz Baby, because it's my first album, it really was just about me rediscovering myself, like who am I on my own, what's my sound, and that is why when you listen to it, it's quite a chaotic album in that there's a lot of different sounds and vibes while I am experimenting and finding out who I am musically. And I kind of wanted that anyways. I wanted the fans to be let in on that, and then conceptually, yes, there's a lot about the industry or showbiz and what that's felt like for me personally, and other stuff as well, like relationships, good and bad,
of course,
the usual stuff, but all kind of wrapped in a showbiz bow is what I would say. I feel like even when I write sad songs, there's always a sense of like humor to it or chaos.
And like a little cheeky too.
Yeah, I think I'm very tongue-in-cheek, kind of laugh at my trauma kind of gal.
Yes.
Which I'm sure my therapist would say is not healthy, but...
Well, what was funny today, like, again, going back and just watching all your videos, which we're going to talk about, is, like, I love when you do the stripped-down versions of the songs and you watch it fully produced, the music videos.
Yeah.
They take on two different meanings for me. Like, I was like, oh, wait, listening to a stripped-back version of these lyrics, so different when you see the final production. And it's interesting how the music can do that and the lyrics can take you to these different places, depending on the production.
I think that's because when I'm writing this music... first and foremost, it has to obviously be a good song, but have a lot of depth and meaning to it. And I always love, like, doing a more is more production. I love when the original songs are, like, all guns blazing, like, big chorus, big sounds, big instrumentation. But then when you strip it all back, you are like, oh, that's actually quite deep, or that's quite a, meaningful song. So that's kind of what I always try to do with all of my songs. And it makes it more fun because then when I do a stripped back version, it does feel like a different
song. It feels like a new song,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and I've really actually enjoyed doing that just as much with every track. And every time you're like, okay, how can I do a different style of this song so the fans aren't just getting like, here's the piano version or here's an acoustic version. Like every time it's like reinventing what the song means, which has been really cool.
When it comes to your creative space, who is like your most trusted collaborator? Who is the first person you're like, I have this idea, I'm going to run this by?
Probably Mike Sabbath. He's been one of the main producers and songwriters on the album. That's who I did Angel My Dreams with, Fantasy, quite a lot of other songs that are on the album. I feel like when I'm in the room with Mike, I feel like just really safe and comfortable, and like any crazy idea is welcome. He's not in that room striving for like a big radio hit or what he thinks everyone else is doing right now. He just wants to create, and it doesn't matter how weird and wonderful that is. So I think that's been really important for me through this whole process, is finding people that embrace the chaos or my sort of weirdness and don't try and like dull it down. Right. I'm a very like maximalist pop girl, I think. Right. More is more for me. So I'm not interested in anyone being like, oh, that's a bit much.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, then get out of the room, babe. Because
like, we don't need you.
It's about getting even more chaotic.
I love that. I love the chaos.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
Because it is such a personal album, you know, obviously it's your real life. You're living day to day. How much of it do you have to like, okay, I'm going in to work on the album versus I have an idea, I want to bring this to life? Or are you like, okay, let me have this like regimented schedule of going in and working on something? Or what does that look like for you as a creative?
I think, I mean, I write a lot of poems like in my notes as like inspiration for songs, or I've got a whole list of concepts. So whenever anything comes into my head, I'm like, okay, let me write that down and bank it for when I get in a session. Right now I'm so busy with everything else going on, so it's harder to find time to I guess exert that creativity. But I think it just depends. Like this whole album writing process, I think is probably more challenging than it ever has been, just because it was my first solo one. Okay. So, you know, I was in a lot of rooms with a lot of different people. Sometimes you don't click with certain songwriters or producers. So I really was kind of like speed dating creatives to see who I would gel with.
How quickly do you know in a room, okay, this isn't quite...
Pretty quickly.
Okay, so you're like...
Yeah, I just think it's a vibe thing. It doesn't mean that you don't like that person.
Of course.
But it is quite a strange concept to just be put in a room with a stranger and be like, do you want to write a song about
the
like,
most personal...
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like bearing my soul to someone, should we write about it? So I think you can tell pretty quickly. And one thing I've learned as I've done this is I'm such a people pleaser. And I've had to learn to be like, it's okay to go in a room and be like, this isn't happening, guys, should we call it a day? Then like torturing ourselves trying to
like
make
get
it happen.
Something that doesn't feel authentic or right.
Yeah, I learned that from one of my songwriter friends actually, Camille. She's a huge songwriter and artist herself, and I was in a session with her like a few years ago, and she was like, this song is crap, I'm not doing it, I want to leave. I don't think this is working. And I was like, yeah, somebody said it, thank God. So yeah, I think that's really important to just, sort of be honest with yourself, especially in a creative space. But when you do gel with someone and you know you're onto something amazing, like that feeling is incredible.
Oh, I bet.
And every song on this album has been, when I've had that feeling. Or like I've got to the end of the day and listened to the track and be like, okay, this is really special.
Yeah, the adverse of that is like, was there one day in particular where you're like, wow, I'm on fire?
Yeah, I think
the vibes are flowing.
I think with Mike and Pablo Bowman, who's one of the other main collaborators on this record, we just had to run like a string of bam, 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 like song after song, and every song we've done together has made the album.
Wow.
Because we just clicked. I think we were all just in a certain headspace as well, where we were all like, willing and ready to really go for it. But one thing I will say as well is like I always go for like coffee or something with anyone new I'm working with, because I've learned now as well, like I say, it can be super awkward in the room with new people. So I'll go for a coffee
like
first.
a little get to know you.
Yeah, I'm like, let's get to know each other. And I find that really helps too, because it sort of breaks the ice a little bit.
It makes you realize you're both human. We're both coming from different experiences.
Yeah. And if it's not happening, you can have a coffee and be like, do you know what, hun? Oh, no. Like, oh, what? I've got to go somewhere. Oh, sorry.
So busy.
Yeah, so it's one of them ones. But I've met so many incredible collaborators and friends for life through this process.
That's so cool.
Which is, it's so special. And so many of the artists as well, I've really found along the way that, this industry is actually full of really supportive artists, especially female artists. And I don't think I really understood that until being on my own. Like with Ray, she's been so lovely to me. And just, you go around the circuit, you go on the red carpet and you bump into all these other artists, and I'd say 9 times out of 10, they're really supportive and message after or check in. And that's been really cool.
Oh, I love it. I was going to ask, are you still keeping in touch with your girls, the Little Mix girls?
Yes,
how's everyone doing?
Of course. I literally saw them like 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah, we all like hung out together. It was
love it.
one of Perry's mum's birthday. So we all hung out and the kids were there. It was just really beautiful and had a proper catch up. And I think that's really special too, that I've always got that comfort blanket.
Of course.
Like we can message each other whenever we want and vent our frustrations or, have a little gossip, whatever it is. Like we've always got each other's backs, and I really need that.
Yeah. I saw this video too. I thought this was interesting, of Perry saying that when you guys release music, you also have conversations to make sure that you're not releasing at the same time. And how did you guys go about having those conversations or decide that was something?
I think especially when it came to like first singles, we didn't want to dull anyone's moment or shine. Like everyone's worked so hard on their solo music. We always said like it's fairer to let each person have their time to shine. Obviously it gets harder as we go on, because now we'll just be releasing stuff, and I don't think it matters so much now, but especially initially, that was really important. So we kind of always check with each other or align on the dates and make sure they don't clash. But I think what's cool now is we're all at a point where our music's so different that it kind of doesn't matter anymore anyways. Like if we both, or 3 of us, release something at the same time, we've got such different styles now that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. One thing I also love about your creativity is seeing your live performances are just next level.
Thank you.
Like, let's talk about Angel My Dreams at the Brit Awards this year.
Yes.
How do you even go about building those worlds? Like, take me back to those first conversations. Because every time I'm like, what is going to happen
I know.
next? Take you for a ride.
I don't know. I just love it. I love a big pop performance.
And you can tell, like, it comes through.
I think I am a bit of a student of pop performances. I do spend my spare time watching like previous big iconic TV performances.
Really? Are there certain ones you go back to?
Yeah, I mean, God, there's loads. I'd say like obviously Gaga, anything she does, to be honest.
Right.
When she did Paparazzi at the, I think it was the MTV Awards, that was insane. Beyonce when she did Run the World, I can't remember where that was, but that was phenomenal with like the screens behind her. Do you remember? Any Super Bowl, like I always watch, and I genuinely like dissect each part of the performance, and I'm like, okay, what lighting did they have? Like, what the costumes saying? How did the dancers like move and blah blah blah? Like, I'm so interested in every aspect of it. So when it came to my own Brits performance, I was just like, anything I can squeeze in that 4 minutes, I will do. I'm like, I've got 4 minutes to show everyone what I'm capable of. I want a trapdoor. I want this huge set. This is the concept. I want it to tell a story. I want 4 costume changes, wigs, I want to fly.
I was obsessed.
And my creative director was like, yes. And that's the thing, you have to surround yourself with people that are as ambitious as you are, because that was a very ambitious performance. And, we had a lot of obstacles with doing that. But I'd always visioned like having this trapdoor moment before Angel My Dreams, because I feel like when that beat drops, it kind of conceptually to me, that's like being on a stage and just like falling into the industry, and then it's just chaos from there on out. So that was always an idea, even from like the birth of that song.
That's interesting. You already had that in your mind, like you
Yeah,
know.
for so long. And then I spoke to Dan, my creative director, about it, and it was like, how do we tell this story again in a way that like pays homage to the music video, but is its own thing. And that's when we had that idea of this kind of Greek tragedy, like operatic extravaganza. And so it just kind of went from there, really. And, I did the red carpet with M from the music video.
Yes.
And it, the whole night had this like running thread of Angel of My Dreams, and it was so special. It really was like one of the best nights of my life, genuinely.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's special. Let's talk about the other cinematic universe you've created, the FUFN video.
Yes.
Tell me where that idea was born out of. Because again, that was they're all like just so, not only visually gripping, but also very layered, like very thoughtful, thought-provoking.
Yes, I think with every visual I do, I always want to have this like running thread of like show business or the music industry, whether it's, on the nose or more like metaphorical. And then there's always a kind of horror movie reference in there, just because I'm obsessed with horror.
Are you?
Yeah, because I think like horror movies,
about you.
I don't know, I feel like horror movies are quite like, they're a huge part of pop culture, and they're quite camp most of the time. They're pretty fab, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you have favorites? Like, do you have like your...
Yes, I do. Host's my favourite, which is a very small, like, independent movie. It's like an hour long. It was brought out during COVID and lockdown, and it's literally a Zoom call, and it's a horror movie. It's so good. You have to watch it.
It's
they like
called
improvise. Host? Yeah, and it's like they're all on this group Zoom, and they do a seance, and it goes like horribly wrong. It's so good. So all my music videos have like some sort of horror theme, and FUFN has multiple in it, actually. There's a bit of Jennifer's Body in there. There's a reference of that. There's a bit of Smile. You see all the people in the audience and their grins are like scarily big.
Oh my God, yes, I didn't even put two together. You're right.
Because I think it links with the pop industry a lot. I feel like that kind of darkness or undertone of like horror is prevalent in the music industry.
Yeah. No, but that's very real though. It is.
Yeah, because it's all smoke and mirrors, and so that's kind of a theme that I always bring to each video. Like Fantasy had the Carrie blood spill moment, so that's really important to me. And the Showbiz theme. And I think with FUFN, I wanted it to feel like it was a premiere of my life almost, and all these people are sitting with their popcorn, like watching it all unfold, and that was kind of the initial idea behind that. And Lucretia, who directed it, she was really on board with that, and she was brilliant to work with. Loved
amazing.
it.
It's funny because when I feel like I start a creative project or do something, I start a Pinterest board. Like that's where I begin.
Hun.
Are you? Oh, really? Are you the Pinterest?
Obsessed with
Stop!
Pinterest.
It's the best app. I've
got a board for every aspect of my life. Yeah, everything.
Too.
Every time I do a video, anytime I do a performance, like every mood board, it's all on Pinterest.
And there's something about seeing something like visually, even if you can't explain it, you're like, okay, this is the idea. You can find all these other ideas.
Yes, exactly.
So that's kind of is that where you start a project as well?
Yeah, a lot of the time for visuals, I'll pull from that and create a mood board. Even for like glam, like for hair and makeup, just everything. Yeah, I've got just so many different Pinterest boards.
That's funny. If you ever have a creative block, are you like, okay, I'll go on Pinterest or I'll watch a horror movie? Like, is it like...
No, yeah, genuinely.
Really?
Genuinely, I find a lot of inspiration from horror movies because, like I say, they're pretty glam, they're pretty fabulous. Like, I live for it.
Your tour this fall, so exciting. I know we're talking about all your performances on stage, but when you're dreaming up that stage, what comes to mind?
The tour, I think, will be very theatrical. I think it will have its own, like, world and concept and strong sort of narrative to it, because I've been able to do that with one-off performances, but I think creating a whole show in that world is going to be really exciting. Obviously, I've got a bunch of festivals coming up this summer, but they're like their own sort of festival shows, so I want the tour to be its own like entity. So I'm really excited about that.
Any nerves with doing your first, like, this isn't your first, or is this your first?
It's my first,
oh, this is your first tour?
Yeah.
Solo tour?
Yeah. I know, I'm a bit nervous, but I feel like tours are more fun because they're just your fans, right? I find festivals scarier because I feel like with festivals...
You have a wide range of audience.
Yeah, and you're almost trying to convert people that have maybe, like, they've been out the night before and they're like, all right, let's see what Jade's set to say, and then they turn up with their bottle, and afterwards I want them to be like, oh, that was pretty good. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's my goal with festivals, is to convince people that aren't just my fans that I'm, like, worthy of getting into.
That's funny.
Whereas with a tour, everyone that's bought a ticket is there just for you and to support you. So I actually feel like I've not experienced it yet, but I imagine I'll feel very loved and supported. So I don't think I'll be as nervous for that.
And it's so cool to see because your fans love you. Like that is a really, really supportive community. Is it fun for you to, obviously you're going to connect with them in person.
Yes.
At this stage, like, are you connecting with them online? Is that something, like, are you do you like to read the comments? Are you in the YouTube comments?
Yeah, no, I'm always lurking in the comments to see what they're saying, because I think, not always, but for the most part, I think it's good to take in any critique from the fans, especially because they know more than anyone. Like, they're the ones buying the tickets, they're the ones buying the merch and supporting you. So I think it's only fair to listen to everything they're saying. So, that's one of the reasons why That Showbiz Baby is now the title of the album, because I saw online when It Girl was released the response from that, and a lot of the fans were saying, wouldn't it make sense if this was actually the album title? So I was like, swerve it, we're changing the title. I was like,
yes.
That's actually such a good idea. So they do genuinely inspire me a lot. And there's so many hardcore Jade fans that genuinely are part of the promotional team now. They will get my music out there. On Twitter, there's I still call it Twitter. Sorry, I've refused to call it X. Does anyone call it X? There's a fan called Little Mix, and they've become their own sort of, I guess, pro page, because they've got so many followers and they just are big on pop culture. But it's a known thing amongst the fandom that they're kind of up there as one of the main.
That they're really in it. They know all the details.
They know all the tea, and they're funny and they're witty. And I think that's the thing with me. I don't take myself too seriously, and maybe that's something that the fans warm to, is that I take my art seriously, of course.
Yes.
But I don't mind taking the piss out of myself, or being one step ahead of being the butt of the joke at times or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So
which is why I think your fans love you so much. It's
we have a lot of fun together. On TikTok, it's a known thing that I'll kind of read them to filth in the comments, and it's it's a safe space to do that. It's all tongue in cheek.
Of course.
But I think we've got a really special relationship, myself and the fans. Just because I'm really grateful that they're there every step of the way.
Of course. Yeah. Speaking of that, we also have to talk about June. It's the beginning of June.
What's
it's Pride
June?
Month.
Oh.
And I know how much the queer community has supported you and loved you. What does it mean to have their support from that community?
Oh, it's everything. I literally wouldn't exist as a pop girly if it wasn't for that community. I'm not even joking. So, I think the right thing to do as an ally is to constantly advocate and stand up for that community, not just in Pride Month, but all year. But since it is June and since it is Pride Month, obviously I'll be flying that flag just as much or more than ever. Especially right now, I guess politically, there's a lot of discourse, especially for the trans community in the UK. I don't know about here, but there's a lot of sort of scaremongering or propaganda against the trans community in the UK, so I'm very conscious of that and very understanding of what that means and what I should be doing as an artist to help with that. So that's really important to me. And just in terms of the LGBTQ plus community in general, like I say, I wouldn't be half as successful without them. I think behind every pop icon is a team of gays around them, just making sure that they get it right. No, I'm deadly serious.
Yeah.
I don't know straight people. That's kind of my mantra in life. So I think I obviously benefit from that community, so the least I can do is be the best ally that I can. Yeah.
And can we just say something similar is happening in the U.S. as well? Very similar.
Okay, yes.
So thank you for using your platform, because it really does mean a lot, especially for the community. And for your fans, I know they so appreciate you. I know we appreciate you for who you are and also your art. And we cannot wait for this new album.
Thank you.
Truly so excited for you, Jade. Thank you so much
for coming. I'm sweating right now. Cardigan was an awful choice.
We love you, Jade. Thank you for being here one more time for Jade in our studio. We're so excited for the album. Thanks so much for watching. Did you like that video? You can check out more over here, and don't forget to subscribe to iHeart right here. And if you're already a longtime fan, make sure you ring the bell down below so you don't miss a single video. See you next time.